I'm here today with Kim. Very excited to talk with you about your job search, about your newest success here, and just such a pleasure to have the opportunity to work with you. If you want to go ahead and start off and just talk to us further what this was like before you joined us here at Pharmacy Career Coach, what that search was like and what you were going through. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that journey before you came on with us.
Okay. I was dissatisfied. I was at the point of burnout. That's where I was. And working full time, exhausted mentally and physically, not getting any joy out of my work anymore. I was not actively looking. I just knew that I had to start looking. The most I was doing was as Indeed jobs came across and I saw that I might be qualified for them, I would send over my current, what I had at the time, resume that I thought was okay. And I really either didn't get a response at all, or, maybe we have chosen another candidate that more fully suits our needs. And, but not really actively looking. I was so burnt out that I probably didn't have the motivation. I had the motivation, definitely the motivation. I wanted to, I use the words now, escape retail. The industry has changed so much. And the 12-hour shifts without a real break and 12 on 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, just it wasn't sustainable. So I needed to do something different. I started searching, just Googling, and things like options, job options for a retail pharmacist, other options for retail pharmacists. And I was at the point of, I've been a retail pharmacist my whole career pretty much. I have been a retail pharmacist my whole career. So, I was staying in that box. That's what I was looking for. I thought that's what I'm qualified for. And then I came across the words escape retail that I mentioned. And I thought, this is what I need to pursue here. This is going somewhere. And in that, as I proceeded in that, I found Pharmacy Career Coach, and I looked at, what you were about. And I think there was a testimonial, or maybe it was you. I can't remember if it was one of you guys basically introducing your company, but I knew that I was very interested at that point. And I think, within a couple hours, I showed it to my husband, and within a very short time, I made the phone call.
That's excellent. And can you just talk a little bit more about, I know you mentioned burnout, but there's
Mhm.
just so, I'm talking with 40 plus retail pharmacists per week for the last several years. Can you just take me through a little bit more what you were feeling? I mean, the impact that had on you in work, in the workplace, with family. Just talk to me a little bit further, like what that felt like. Because I know there's so many people out there that can relate to what you're going through.
And I'm seeing that too as I talk to people, but hopeless. It felt hopeless. I mean, we all go into pharmacy. I've loved my profession since the first day of pharmacy school. I just have had a passion for pharmacy. I had two uncles that were pharmacists. It was in the family, and industry changes. I actually worked independent for a long time, and we sold our store after 14 years. And so I had to go into chain pharmacy, and that was still retail, but different. And the physical and mental exhaustion, all the things that you mentioned, it was affecting me physically. On my days off, I had to recover from my work days, physically and mentally. And then, family, of course, suffers. They suffer right along with you. It just affected my quality of life in general. Never felt like at work that I could do enough, as hard as we work. And I bet there's not another job on the planet that works as hard as retail pharmacist. And there was really no words of affirmation, no appreciation. It was always, what more can you do? We need you to do this. We need you to give walk-in shots. We need them to be done within 15 minutes. We need you to do MTMs, make those phone calls. And you're filling 300, 400 prescriptions a day, and you're the only pharmacist. And sometimes without enough staff, and that I would say most of the time without enough staff. And we're very accessible, and I love patients in general. That's my forte. But you have to maintain that focus for that extended period of time. You're always worried that you're going to make a mistake. The worst case, that's the worst thing a pharmacist can do is, we worry about those QREs. And just, I was at my lowest point.
I got it. I got it. And I know, yeah, I totally, yeah, that sounds challenging, that's for sure, to say the least. And then I guess, was there anything in particular that really made you, I know you're casually looking, but was there anything that made you really say like, okay, the time is now, or just anything that pushed you over the edge to really make that change or make that call or start that research to make that change?
I just think it was a gradual, I've known it for probably a year.
Okay.
I've known, but you do feel limited, and you feel like, get this certification. I've always invested in my career and gotten different certifications, consultant, just, and it never, I'm happy to do that. That's what we do, career building. And it just did not seem fulfilling anymore. It was just going in early, staying late on those 12-hour shifts and dreading it, just the dread. And even for 2 days before you have to go to work, you're 2 on, 2 off. It changed me as a person. I mean, my husband right now is saying, you're back to your old self again.
I love that. I love that. I can see the glow. So, so then, yeah, so then you made the call or did the research. You saw a success story. So then, yeah, I guess what were kind of your initial thoughts of coaching? I know it was newer to you, but yeah, just what were your thoughts as you reached out and had the opportunity to connect with us? And tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I think I talked to you initially and you gave me more information. Told you, you really sounded encouraging on the phone and you asked the right questions. And you said, you don't accept everybody. Y'all have like a 94% success rate. Is that what I remember?
Sure.
And it just sounded really good. And then you sent me over some more testimonials, and a couple of them were exactly what I needed to hear. They were in my, you know, point of my career, about the same, had been in pharmacy for quite a while and potentially going to change into a different work site. And it just seemed like they're talking directly to me. And so I told you I would let you know something within 24 hours. And of course, discussion, I didn't know at the time what the cost was or anything like that. That was a later question. And we just felt like that this is what we need to do at this point for quality of life for both of us, for my whole family.
I love it. Yeah. So what were some of the biggest maybe challenges or just kind of the biggest doubts that you had about the program?
Honestly, at the point that I was at, anything, I felt like any encouragement would only help. And of course, you question everything these days. Is this for real? Can they really help me? Is it going to be worth it? Is it a scam? I think we'll question every phone call that we get these days if we don't recognize it.
Yeah.
So, but not a real problem. I was very reassured by our conversation.
And then kind of diving into it, I guess, yeah, how do you feel the program really helps you out?
Oh, every step of the process. It gave me hope, main thing. And my confidence level had just, I just really had lost all confidence. And I've always felt I'm a great pharmacist. I've excelled. Most of us are overachievers. And I just feel like I was at my lowest point career wise and affected my personal life too. But every step of the program, from me signing on and then the questionnaire, even put the right questions in my mind. What areas are you interested in? What areas are you not interested in? Work sites. I had begun to think of, I didn't even know there were certain areas, work sites. And y'all have all those resources that, remote, hospital, retail. A retail pharmacist thinks they have to stay in retail. A hospital pharmacist, maybe they have other options. But I was really it opened my mind to realize that I could look at other things. But every step of the program, it was like brick by brick. The questionnaire and then the resume. Like I said, I thought I had a halfway decent resume, but things have changed in the industry. So I know all that has changed, the resume, application, interview process. So when you revamped my resume and cover letter, same facts, all the same facts, totally blew me away. And I told my husband at that point, I'm amazing. And not to be conceited, but you did such a great job. And that's really what you need to get the attention of an employer, a potential employer. You've got to get that foot in the door and that cover letter and resume. And then after that, the LinkedIn, the networking. My coach was amazing. And the encouragement from her, we pretty much met weekly, and accountability, the homework that she gave me. And, it just led me down different paths. I even watched the momentum. I saw a few of those, but they're very encouraging. They're more specific to certain things. All the welcome calls, the encouragement throughout from the team, the entire team. Y'all have it figured out. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And then how about like on the interview side? How did it help you there?
I had never even realized that interviews had changed as much as they have. My coach made herself available. I immediately emailed her when I got the email that I had an interview, and I was very excited. And this was for what seemed like a perfect job for me. To be a real pharmacist, not to say that a retail pharmacist is not a real pharmacist. We just don't get to focus on what our profession, the way we used to, or, anyway, what we had hoped to, what we were trying to do. But she made herself available. We did 2 sessions. I think it was the next morning. And if I'm not mistaken, was still on vacation or just coming off of vacation. And not that everybody's going to be able to do that, but she was amazing. And she knew the interview was just in a couple of days. So I used your resources and looked at all the potential questions. And then all of those scenarios of tell me about a time when, those kind of specific questions I wasn't prepared for. So I was grateful that didn't catch me off guard when I got to the interview. I felt very prepared.
Excellent, excellent. And then how about on the networking side? So I know you were a Diamond client. I know we're helping you out with some of the networking aspects. So tell me a little bit more what that led to and how helpful that was.
Very helpful. Once I found out what the job description that I got the interview for, the position, I was able to even connect with another pharmacist in in that same job description for the hospital chain was that I'm going to work for. And we have developed a friendship. She, just the networking led to that. And she could tell me exactly what she does in her job, how much she loves her job, which was that much more encouraging. And I plan to continue to connect with her. But I think networking is I've always thought networking was important. I just didn't have a large network.
Mhm.
And in your program, you encourage the expanding your network, and you never know who's going to be able to help you. And that's true.
Excellent, excellent. Well, now kind of diving into the opportunity that you landed. So tell me more about what you're so excited for, and kind of, yeah, take me through the results, what you landed. I know that there's a little bit of a pay increase, so just kind of
Exactly.
take me through these results here.
Okay. It's my title is very impressive. Advanced clinical medication reconciliation pharmacist. There, are two of us, and that's just, some people don't know what that is, a med rec pharmacist, but I don't think I knew what it was until this. And it's the Joint Commission established that every healthcare facility has to do medication reconciliation, and nursing has done it in the past, and pharmacists have started doing it, and they've realized, and they actually said they preferred a retail pharmacist to hire for this position because it's somewhat of a hybrid, because you are doing clinical, but retail pharmacists are on the, we're so familiar with the home medications, and I'm sure hospital pharmacists are too, but we see it, all day long, every single day. And it's just, I'm excited to be dealing with, in a clinical setting and not be on my feet for 12 hours up and down, being able to practice my profession
I love that. I
and
love
make a difference. That's what we all basically, we went into pharmacy and we thought it was, a noble profession, and we will make a difference. And I feel like I'm going to be able to do that now again.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Yeah, I guess did you feel like something like this existed months ago when you were deep in the search, or did it kind of catch
No,
you by surprise?
I did not. And I really didn't think that I would not have applied for this job. My coach gave me the confidence to step out of my boundaries a little bit. I was only looking at retail or remote positions. Anything that said clinical, I did not think I was qualified for. Right, since rotations in pharmacy school, so that was a big barrier when I realized, because it said, a lot of people think residencies, or I'm a B Pharm, I'm a bachelor's, I graduated that long ago, and so you think you're limited, but it said residency preferred. I'm not even sure I would have noticed that in the job description before, so I applied, and here I am.
I love that. I love that. And if you don't mind, what was your pay increase? I know the biggest worry of anyone getting out of retail is a pay cut, and I
Exactly.
went the opposite way. So you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and I expected to take a pay cut. I was willing to take a pay cut. That's where I was. And I got a $10,000 increase in pay. When I got the call that they wanted to make me an offer, I was kind of reluctant when she asked me what was I expecting. I was a little reluctant because I knew they probably couldn't match what I was making. And I told her over the phone, I get the recruiter for the company. And she said, now, how many years have you been a pharmacist? And so she took it and turned it around. And my experience, which I thought could be a negative at this point, she saw that as a positive. And she said, I think we can do better than that. And I was so excited.
I
And then I found out it was not the next day, but the next day. So within 48 hours, they called me back with an offer.
Incredible. So yeah, what are some of the things that you're really most excited about in this next position?
Just it's a challenge going into a new setting. I feel like I'm going to be around professionals that like their job, that are happy at their job. I was able to meet a few, and I've not seen anyone with negative attitude, or it just seems like a much more positive change for me. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's amazing. So yeah, I guess what would you say to any retail pharmacist out there that's feeling kind of stuck, or just, I mean, hopeless or challenged, or what would you tell them if you could look back and kind of talk to someone that's, yeah, looking for something new?
You need a team behind you. You need to gain that confidence back. And I don't think you can do it on your own. I mean, some people might can do it on their own if they're motivated enough, I guess. But the team behind that really seems to want you to succeed and gaining that confidence back, they need to do something, make a change, call pharmacy career coach. I've actually had probably 3 people in the last 4 days call to congratulate me. And then also, okay, I see, because I had made a comment on LinkedIn, I see that you used a career coach. Can you send me that information?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's so nice. And again, just so happy for you. I know the whole team's happy for you, and it's so fun. I know when we originally talked, times were stressful, but it's just so exciting to see how motivated and excited, and I know that the confidence is back. And so I know you mentioned briefly your family noticed it, or your husband noticed it. Can you just tell me a little bit more about that and what that looks like?
It's just such a more life. Like I feel like I'm going to have more of a work-life balance now, and not be thoroughly, like I said, recovering on my days off from my mental and physical exhaustion. I'm just new to it now and there's a lot for me to learn, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited to uh, dig in and to learn the new whatever it is. A lot of times the technology's the most anxiety provoking learning a new system, but I've always said if they can do it, I can do it. So I
Just
think my whole family has noticed a difference.
well, a huge congratulations to you. I mean, obviously, if you need anything, we're here to help you out. And just, yeah, a big congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I couldn't say thank you enough.
Is there anything else you feel like we should talk about or anything else that you want to mention? I know, yeah, a lot of great stuff. It's funny behind the scenes. I see so many people that are like, even this morning, I talked to someone that is almost like exactly where you are. I'm like, she should just talk to you. And I mean, she's literally like step by step what your progress has been and
Right.
everything. But yeah, just anything else you think you want to touch on or talk about or
Just you didn't mention the financial investment, but it was so worth it. I got a raise for one thing, so it was well worth it for me. I'm reimbursed for that, but it is so worth it. I chose to be a diamond client because I just wanted every bit of help that I could get. But it is so worth it, and I would tell anybody that questions that it is definitely worth it.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. And then we always just ask because we're always willing and want to improve, but just anything that comes to mind that we should improve or could have done better or faster or hey, this resource is missing. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're trying to help. I know you landed kind of very aligned with what you're looking for, but just anything that stands out to you that we could do better.
I really can't think of anything because the communication lines were always open, and I'm new to this. I've never stepped out to get help with anything like this before, but so I can't really compare it, to anything, but I really can't think of anything. It seems like you guys have thought of everything. I mean, over the years, I'm sure you've made changes and adjustments due to maybe suggestions from other people, but I just feel like you have it all the road paved for, somebody that was in my situation.